Okay, this one looks like it's pretty straightforward until you take a closer look and you see that we actually have different units, okay, yards and feet. So we can do one of two things. We can convert them both into yards or we can convert them both into feet. Um, it's easy to turn these 2 yards into 6 feet. It's a fractional amount if you turn these 5 feet into yards, which would be 1 2/3 yards. So I'm going to start the other way and see if that's if our answer comes from feet versus feet, because you can see down here they've got yards, they've got feet, they've got feet, they've got yards. So we're not really sure what they're going to do. Now, I'm going to examine the wrong answers once we get done, just so you can get a sense of it. But here's how you would convert 2 yards the correct way into feet. You would say 2 yards times, and we want to multiply by a creative version of 1 that is not going to actually change the value of this. So how do we do it? Well, this is like over 1. Okay, you can imagine anything that does not have a denominator as being over 1. Okay, so since we have yards on top on the 2 yards, we want to have yards on the bottom here. What we're turning it into goes on the bottom. I'm sorry, what we're changing it from goes on the bottom. What we're turning it into goes on top. And then you write the relationship between those two sets of units. And what is the relationship? Well, the relationship is 1 yard equals 3 feet. Okay, so then when you can cancel yards and yards, and you multiply 2 times 3, and you get 6 feet. Now, you might have been able to do that without writing it out like this, but there's a value in seeing that and knowing how to do that, because sometimes it's not so straightforward, especially when you're converting multiple things. Okay, so anyway, we've got 6 feet, so that 2 yards becomes 6 feet. So if we said 6 feet times the 5 feet that they had given us as the other measure for the height, 6 times 5 is 30, and feet times feet is feet squared. And then when you look, you can actually see that they did give us that as an answer. Okay, so what were the other numbers? What are the other answers, incorrect answers, coming from? Well, just in case you didn't realize that you needed to convert one of them and you just did 2 times 5, that's where they're going to get the 10 from. And then they gave that choice twice for maybe you picked yards, maybe you picked feet. But you shouldn't have done either because they're different units. Okay, the 30 could have come from you converted it, but then you mistakenly wrote yards. So this is correct.